I have no idea what's happening.
We're live. We're live. That's what's happening. Hello. Welcome, James McNeil here. This is Andrew James McNeil. He is the devil's advocate. That's Andrew. He's my son. Some might say he's the cool one. I wouldn't. Okay, yes, I would. So welcome to Fight Club. Now, this is something completely different, as Monty Python would say. The idea here is that Andrew and I have so much fun working together that we bark back and forth, we laugh at each other, we have all kinds of cool conversations. And people have said, you know, you guys should share some of that madness. And so this is our first attempt to share this. We're going to learn a million things. But today is today, which is July the 16th, I believe. July 16th, Friday, July the 16th. Tomorrow, for those of you who are watching this, you know who I am. I am James McNeil, the Real Love Guru. Tomorrow and Sunday, so tomorrow, Saturday, and Sunday, we have a Dream Life Experience Live, which you can join at, you can just simply get a free ticket. It's a $1,000 event, normally hosted here in Toronto, and people have to fly from around the world. $1,000 US, $997, plus travel and hotel. And I'm doing it online so that I'm saving you all your travel expenses, and I'm giving you a completely free ticket. Now you can upgrade to a VIP, which is cool. But simply go to go.jamesmcneil.com, go.jamesmcneil.com, and get yourself a free ticket. All right, so today is Fight Club. So my son, Andrew, a.k.a. Devil's Advocate, and I are going to be just jumping into some topics, and we'll see where it goes, and we'll all have some fun and learn some stuff. All right, so here's what else I want to say. What can you expect moving forward? I have no idea. We'll probably do this again. Hey, Musette's in the house. What's up? Okay, so here we are. We're live. Andrew and I are going to go for it. So, Andrew, what are we talking about today? What have you got on the docket?
Well, hi, I'm Andrew, if you haven't met me. Today, our plan is to talk about three primary topics. We want to talk about Conor McGregor, who we love. We want to talk about the current space race amongst billionaires. And lastly, we want to talk about quantum mysticism.
Why not? It's easy.
It will be.
So our goal here is for us to just be ourselves and to let you in on the kind of conversations we have all day, every day. And the only thing that's going to be different is Andrew will possibly mock me less. Can't guarantee it, but that may happen. All right, so let's jump in. So where do you want to start? Conor McGregor, is that right?
Let's start with Conor.
All right, so for those of you uninitiated, Conor McGregor is an Irish mixed martial artist who has had incredible success. When he was in the, not amateur, he was in the pro world of fighting. And Dana White is the CEO of the UFC, Ultimate Fighting Championship. And he had been hearing about this wild Irishman who is a really great fighter, and they should look at signing him into the UFC. And when they met, Dana White said, after speaking with Conor, he said, if this guy even knows how to throw a punch, he's going to be rich. He's going to be successful. He has so much charisma, so much wow. Since then, he is a champ, one of only two, who have held simultaneous belts in all of UFC
He was
history.
the first.
He was
the first. Yeah.
So I think there's Conor McGregor, Daniel Cormier, and Henry Cejudo. I think those three are the only three who have ever done it. GSP has two belts, one in the welterweight and one at the middleweight, but not simultaneously. So anyways, it's a pretty big deal. And the UFC is a company that basically makes all of its money in pay-per-views. And this past weekend, Conor McGregor fought and lost, which he did in his previous fight. He's had some ups and downs, which we'll get into. But he is the fighter that has been one of the two combatants in all five of the UFC's highest pay-per-view sales of all of their corporate history. So he is one of the two fighters in all of their top five biggest income pay-per-views. And he's one of the two fighters in the world's second highest grossing pay-per-view of all time on any topic. And it was a boxing fight with Floyd Mayweather. Floyd. And so, say it.
No, continue your monologue. This is great.
Mayweather. What do you have to say, Andrew?
Well, the first thing I want to say is that script that I handed you, it said that I would introduce the topic, but it's fine. I appreciate everything you're doing. So, Conor McGregor, as my dad so eloquently put it.
Man, we're not going to do this again. Go ahead, Andrew.
This is the only reason we're doing it. I mean, now I'm thrown because our whole plan got taken
you're
away.
Such a baby.
Yeah, well, that happens when people.
So Conor McGregor
step
lost
on
this
your-
last weekend, since my son is so thrown off by my expertise.
You're a fantastic model.
So, what do you think of him being a top-ranked fighter? Is he one of the best fighters in the world? Is he the best fighter in the world? Where would you place Conor McGregor as an athlete
today?
Yeah.
I think Conor McGregor, in my opinion, was a top fighter in the world.
Okay.
And I haven't been following super close lately, but I will say that he, in my opinion, appears to have lost his edge since there was a window of time where he was seemingly unbeatable.
Yeah.
And then, I don't know. I think I respect him. I appreciate his hype train, but I don't know that he's all that anymore, to be honest.
So does he deserve this kind of money? Because I know you're interested, or sorry, you're engaged in the idea of how much athletes are being paid, or if it's fair, because we've talked about fair in professional sports and so on. So what are your thoughts on pro sports, pure sports? Is he the best? Was he ever one of the best fighters on earth?
Okay, well, those are two different questions. I think that him being an exceptional fighter is valid. I actually personally think that he is deserving of the money that he gets paid, assuming the money that he's getting paid is proportionate to the money that he's bringing into the sport.
Right.
Because I understand that he is a marketing magnet for the UFC. So I think the UFC chooses to pay him very well because A, he presumably demands it, and B, he's worth it to them. So if he's worth it to them, then I would say yes, he is deserving of the pay, even if his fighting is no longer next level as it once was.
Sure. I mean, in this fight, if I saw correctly, he got paid $20 million, and he got knocked. It wasn't. He didn't get knocked out. His shin bone broke at the end of the first round, near the end of the first round, and he is not crediting his competitor for that. He's saying it was wounded in training, and then in the fight it broke. And he doesn't want his competitor to get any of that credit, but it was ended by doctor's orders kind of thing. He didn't quit, and the other guy didn't knock him out. So for the record, it was a TKO, they call it.
Right.
But Dustin didn't get credit for a KO, and he got paid for less than one round or one full round. He got paid $20 million, and the victor who beat him last time and again got paid $1 million, and so he got paid $20 million and lost. And then what else? Okay, so what Andrew is saying is the reason why he got paid $20 million is because he's the one who made 1.8 million people buy a pay-per-view. And so because Conor McGregor drew all the eyes and all the dollars, he deserves the money whether he won or lost. Is that right?
I would say so, yes. I think that because they had an agreement in advance that this is what he asks for, and the UFC deemed that he's worth it. So yeah. I think that's the full stop, in my opinion, for the conversation. I think that whether they decide to pay him the same amount for the next fight, that's an entirely different conversation. But I think that he earned the right to ask for the amount that he asks for, and I don't think the result changes that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Very cool. Now, in the aftermath, he had an operation because his shin bone was broken. Now, he has been given in the operation a
titanium rod.
Titanium rod that goes from his knee to his ankle, and he happily announced in a video that he posted on social media that it is unbreakable. What are your thoughts on that, Andrew?
I think that he has just started the process of making himself into Wolverine.
So what are the implications? I mean, should fighters just pretend injuries and go get titanium rods put all over their bodies? I mean, what do you think is the outcome of this?
Well, I don't know, but I do know that I've had conversations with people in the past, slightly unrelated but related, to the idea of doping, for example, in sports. And I like the idea. Some people have said, okay, we can have sports that doesn't allow doping, and what about having a sport that just allows doping? Let's just see how far we can take this thing. And similarly, it's like maybe there's a place for upgrading the human body.
Well, the sad thing is, and I think you would agree, Andrew, that we're consumers. We enjoy entertainment, but if these athletes are going to mutilate their bodies, whether it's through operations or through doping or through anything else, if they're going to put themselves at the point of death, and maybe they come from scarcity and they desperately need money for their family, whatever. At what point do we, the consumer, say, okay, we're not comfortable paying for that? We're not comfortable for someone basically killing themselves for our entertainment.
Enabling that self-destruction.
You throw enough money at someone, they might do something.
I think it remains to be seen.
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to the question of the titanium rod. That's kind of a new one. I would imagine, having zero medical expertise myself, that the doctors felt that was a reasonable procedure for him to get.
Yeah.
I don't imagine he just came up with it and the doctors complied. So I suspect it's not that crazy in the medical world. But then, it does beg the question, like, to what degree does that affect his ability to fight? Does that give him an unfair advantage?
Yeah, I think he's going to be just kicking the tar out of everyone, knowing it can't break. Right. One of the dangers for those of you who watch or may not watch the sport, it's called checking the kick. If you move your leg in a certain way and they kick your knee, for an example, it can break their shin, because the shin bone can only take so much. And so when someone, quote unquote, checks the kick, and if your form isn't quite right, if you don't turn the hips and do it just right, you're vulnerable to have a shin broken, and he has a broken shin. But with a titanium rod, no amount of checking is going to protect the person being kicked. And so will the UFC let him fight with a titanium rod? And my personal opinion is, yes, they are. There's no way they're going to allow. If they can allow him, they're going to allow him.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think. I think the UFC makes so much money off of him that he could put titanium rods in his other legs too, in his other leg as well, and maybe in his arms.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like they're like,
they'll let him do anything he wants.
Come on back, bud. You're good.
Yeah, we're good.
So I don't know, but it's hard to quantify, right? Like, how much of an advantage can you definitively say that it gives a person?
Oh, I would say it's huge. If you know you can't break your shin, you'll do more with it.
That's true.
There's no question. It's an unfair advantage, or whether it's unfair or not, legally or whatever. It's an advantage. There's no way around.
I'll give you that.
Because a shin that can't be broken is a shin that is your friend in fighting.
Right.
So next topic. We're going to run out of time here.
We are. Okay, real quick. The space race. Sir Richard Branson, he was already planning to have a trip to space in his rocket ship that he's paid for and built. He was planning for it later this summer. Apparently, Jeff Bezos announced his was July 20th. So Richard Branson upped his date. He did it last Sunday. So apparently both the two of them, Richard Branson and Bezos, they're both planning to invest in space tourism. They're going to be charging tickets around $250,000 for people to jump on board and go take a trip through space. Elon Musk is doing a similar thing, even more crazy, where people are going to be able to go out in space for a couple days at a time. It's going to be charging in the millions. So the question is, in my opinion, is this morally questionable that billionaires are investing money in something that doesn't appear to be universally beneficial?
Right.
And it kind of just taking advantage of opportunity to charge other rich people to do rich people things that none of us little folk can do. So is this wrong in any way? Is it just, they've earned it, they can do whatever they want? Do we even need to ask these questions? I don't know.
Well, first of all, I think one of the things that I think is cool about technology is that sometimes technology is progressed for reasons that we might question. So, for example, I was told I was at an event once in, I think it was Louisiana, and the guru got up on stage and they said, I just want to take a moment to thank pornography. And we're like, where is he going? He said, pornography and video games are the two quote unquote industries that have funded the computer revolution. So the reason why we have computing speed, graphic speed, the reason why computers are able to do what they do now is because they were funded by some industries that the money was there, right? Video games, they wanted faster computer system, faster chips, faster whatever. So between porn, he said porn and video games are the ones to be thanked for the technology revolution. With the space race, and we look at SpaceX, one of the things I think that's cool about is they invented, these guys who you might say are just wasting, the planet's resources. They invented a reusable rocket.
Right.
How long has NASA been around? How long have all the governments that participate?
Yeah.
They changed the game. Why? Because they're not a government institution where someone says this is what you're allowed to build.
Right.
Entrepreneurs do cool stuff.
Right.
And so that entrepreneurial spirit that invented a reusable rocket just changed the game universally. And it wasn't a government, it wasn't a defense budget. It was a rich guy saying, I think it's cool, I'm going to make this.
Right.
And so I think entrepreneurialism does a lot of cool things. And so the fact that their application, much like you might say, porn and video games are the things that we want to celebrate as a species, if that's your thing. Maybe you think going into space just to hang out because you're rich is a waste. But because of that drive, we now have reusable rockets and probably another 10,000 brilliant inventions. So I'm not at all against it.
I actually, you know what? I started, even before we started this conversation, in this moment, I started on the other side. But you know what? You made a good point that I think I can relate back to Tesla.
Yeah.
Elon Musk changed the automotive industry because he decided he wanted to revolutionize the electric car. And the way that he did that, and he wasn't subtle about it, was he made his electric cars very expensive to then fund the technology to make that technology more affordable.
Yeah.
And so realistically, by
let the rich people pay for it.
Let the rich people pay for something that will eventually benefit everybody. This could be something similar.
Yeah.
For all we know, this is leading us in a direction that will be universally beneficial. It just doesn't look that way yet.
Yeah. And did you ever see the thing where they lined up the four different models, S, the 3, the X, and the Y, and it spells sexy, kind of? Yeah. Is that like, he did that?
Oh, 100%. I'm pretty sure he even said once that he intended to call the Model 3 the Model E, but he couldn't because Ford already had a Model E.
Well,
so he went with 3 and it still serves the same.
He's getting Ford back. Did you did you see the interview where they asked him, how did you know Tesla would work? And he says, I didn't.
Right.
He says, I didn't expect it to work.
Yeah.
Like how cool is that?
Yeah.
Like they said, well, why would you start something you don't expect to work? Did you remember his?
I think I saw this recently and I don't remember.
He said, when something's important enough, you have to try. Mm. When something's important enough, you have to try. This is not a billionaire doing it for the dollars, right?
Right.
I don't know if you saw the house he was living in, but it's,
No, I know. Oh, yeah, he's a cool dude.
Like he sold PayPal, took all the money, rolled it into SpaceX and Tesla and more. But then he was crashing on his buddy's couch.
Right.
So the guy, he brought in like 150 million, and he's crashing on his buddy's couch. This guy's not about consumption; he's about creation. What else can we do? And I applaud the heck out of that.
How much cool stuff can we make?
Yeah, and he's going to come out with an electric car for like 20 grand. He's working on it.
I've heard. Yeah, he's basically Iron Man.
Yeah.
Okay, we don't really have much time, but we'll just quickly touch on the last subject we intended to talk about, which is quantum mysticism.
Yeah, that'll take 2 minutes.
Yeah, no problem.
Well, okay, so here's the deal.
Spit it out.
For those of you watching, you may know that I am the creator, founder of Pure Spiritual Intelligence and Dream Life Community and so on. And I am a theist, not an atheist. I'm a theist, which means I believe that the universe is governed, and that which transcends the universe is governed by love energy, which has personhood. And I happen to be a believer in the Jesus narrative, the Bible, conservative theologically. I, however, believe everyone's got cool stuff to bring to the table, and I love learning from my Muslim friends, from my Jewish friends. Well, that's the Abrahamic thread, but also my Buddhist friends, my Hindu friends, Sikh, atheists and agnostics. You name it, I dig it. I want to learn from everyone. I dig in the Tao, for an example. I dig the Tao Te Ching. So the more I study Buddhism, the more I understand Jesus, quite frankly. So I'm one of those people who starts from theism and listens to everybody. In the world of quantum physics, ignited something called quantum mysticism. And quantum mysticism is a group of individuals who are looking at quantum physics as a justification to prove some of the other mystical beliefs. And also, I'll just go with, say, Hinduism, Buddhism. And so that's where that's coming from. So, Andrew, if you don't mind, where are you coming from when it comes to all things spirituality?
I don't actually concern myself too heavily on labels, but I've been told that where I land is closest to agnosticism. I simply feel that anything beyond what we can see or prove is just so unknowable that thinking that you know anything beyond that is just unreasonable, in my opinion. I think that I'm open to the idea that there's a higher power, or that there's some function of fate or whatever the case may be. I'm open, but I just don't allow that to really affect how I live my life.
I was speaking, you know this story. I was speaking to an agnostic who is brilliant, and we both respect this individual. And he said, basically, I think theism and atheism are both signs of arrogance. He's like, how do you know? How do I know? How do we know?
Right.
And I really respect that. Let's be open here. And although I'm a fully committed Christ follower, I'm what's called an irreligious Christ follower, which means I don't buy into the religious idea that it's our team against your team, that it's, we're right, you're wrong, and we're kind of happy about it. But rather to say, let's learn, let's grow. Now, my beliefs are rock solid in the Jesus story, but it doesn't change the fact that I can listen to and respect everybody. So I'm almost like, I feel like I'm almost a Christian agnostic. You know what I mean? Like I'm a Christian 100%.
Right.
But I'm like, cool, let's learn from them. Cool, let's learn from them. Right. Without changing the foundation of where I'm coming from. And what are your thoughts on placebo? Because that's a word that comes up often whenever I talk about spirituality. So share your perspective on that.
Okay, well, seeing as I have 30 seconds, I'll be quick.
Go.
My belief on the way that I relate the placebo effect to a lot of the conversations we have on spirituality is simply that I believe that the power of the mind is so potent that what you choose to believe about yourself or your life or where you place your focus can affect your surroundings, can affect your experiences in such a way that can feel supernatural. When you believe that this is where your life is going, or what you're good at, or whatever, you essentially make it more true than before you had that belief.
Absolutely.
And so I think that by that standard, I'm open to the possibility that what may feel like spirituality or a higher power or whatever the case may be, I'm open to the possibility that it's something that you created within yourself.
Cool. And the way I look at that is, that's cool too, because if my faith says yada, 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 because of this, because of that, have faith, and you're saying with faith, you're going to get a result. So we both say faith and result are related. And you're saying just have faith if you want to, go, get to the therefore. You don't have to buy the story. Just get to the therefore, a positive self-belief or whatever that vibe is. And if all of this gets you there, you're thinking, cool, but it's the getting there that's the answer, not the how you got to the answer. But this mindset can get you to that result. Yeah,
and I'm totally open to the reality that the belief, how you define that belief, to me doesn't change the likelihood of the outcome.
Right.
Whether you call it God is the reason, or my own belief is the reason, whatever you want to call it, it works. To believe in what you're doing will give you better odds in what you're doing, period.
Beautiful.
So I'm open to whatever.
Beautiful. So thank you for joining us. We have had our first attempt at fun with Fight Club. And so I hope that, let us know in the comments if you're interested in us doing this. and let us know if you have topics you want to throw at us, because we're willing to fight about anything. And in the future, my intention is that we're going to give ourselves more time. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, that was on me.
No. It's Andrew. It's Andrew's fault.
Yes, it is.
But we're going to give ourselves more time, and we're going to tackle with far more rigor and research different topics, because I believe that this is the kind of thing that would be good for you and I, Andrew, but also just for people to just listen to different perspectives. Like you can quote unquote fight without fighting. Like you can really get at it,
right,
and be cool with each other. And that's one of the things that we really want to share. Last thought.
Yeah, and just to add on that, I think that there's a lot of hesitation around confrontation.
Yeah. And
I think that, like, for me, like, I mock you mercilessly, as you know, but the thing is, that doesn't come from a place of malintent, whatever. Like, it's not coming from a bad place. Malicious, thank you. Like, I can be difficult or push a button, because of the respect that we have, because of that kind of thing. So it's like, I think that realistically, relationships are strengthened by confrontation in some way.
Yeah.
Right. So I think this is good fun. So I think we're gonna have some fun.
See. I love it. And everyone who's watching knows that I was right on every point.
Yep. And everybody knows that that's entirely untrue.
Love, joy, and peace. Thanks for joining us. We look forward to seeing you next time on Fight Club. Let us know if you're interested in this and what you'd like us to talk about. We'll send out more accurate, information on what's coming up, and would love to keep the fights going. Maybe you'll come on and scrap with us. All right. Peace.